Hi everyone, this is Yana Smakula and thank you for stopping by today. I have been in a holiday mood for the past couple of days, or I should probably say weeks, and I have been dying to make a card using a new stamp set by Hero Arts called Merry Cactus to You. You always have your usual Christmas trees, your ornaments, reindeer, Santas, but you rarely or probably never have a cactus on a holiday card. So today I'm using a cactus stamp set to create two simple heat embossed watercolor background holiday cards. I've shared a video recently where I've used rather large images to stamp a background pattern on a full letter sheet and create 4 cards. Today I'm going to follow the same concept and use large images, well, not as large as I used in that video, but slightly larger than the images I usually use to stamp a full background. I'm going to be working on a half of a letter sheet piece of paper, so it's going to be enough to make 2 backgrounds for standard A2 cards. I want to do some watercolor today. I've recently bought a watercolor set and I really wanted to use it and play with it. So in this video I'm going to show you, I'm already showing how to make a large custom heat embossed and watercolor background. So I'm going to be working on watercolor paper. This is regular watercolor paper, nothing fancy, and I'm going to be heat embossing cacti images one by one onto my paper. I'm using an anti-static powder pouch to prep the surface of the paper to make sure I keep my embossing nice and clean, and I'm stamping my images one at a time using Versamark clear sticky ink. I have found that for my weather conditions, it's best to heat emboss images one by one. It's very hot down here right now, so Versamark ink dries a little quicker than it usually does, and that doesn't give me much time to stamp several images at once. So I'm stamping one cactus at a time. Now, I usually love to use gold embossing powder, but Hero Arts recently came out with a couple of new colors, and let me tell you, they are all gorgeous. So I'm using platinum color for these cards for embossing my cacti today, but I also really like brass color. It's just very, very beautiful. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making a background for my cards. I'm combining solid and also outline images because I want to add a little bit of watercolor to these. I'm intentionally not using just solid or just outline images. If I were to use just outline images and would have watercolored all of them, I would have had a background that is, a little bit too busy. And if I were to use just solid images, I wouldn't have had any room to add my watercolor. So this is why I'm combining both solid and outline images. So now that my background is ready, I'm going to start adding color. I'm intentionally using a large brush. This is brush number 6. So I'm intentionally using a large brush because first of all, I don't want this to look perfect. And second of all, I don't want to spend too much time coloring these. And if I were to use a smaller brush, I would probably spend more time coloring. So I'm using a large brush and I'm first adding a little bit of green to each outline cactus I have on my background. And I'm not concerned about shadows and highlights. I honestly just want to play around with this watercolor set, and be a kid and simply color. I am going to come back later and add some shadows or add some more color to some of the areas that, in my opinion, are going to look darker. But again, I'm not spending much time trying to make this perfect. I want this to look playful and fun and easy, and it is actually, it's very easy. The heat embossed images, the heat embossed outlines of the images really help you to stay within the lines of the images and color them quickly. So after I've colored my cacti green, I switched to a smaller brush and started coloring the lights in red. I didn't want to have too many colors on these cards, so I only used green, red, and obviously platinum. So I colored the Christmas lights and I also decided to add blooming flowers to the solid cacti. I wanted to make them a little bit more festive, so I added hand-drawn flowers. I didn't plan a flower shape or anything, I just added like a blob of ink on top of a cactus and that was it. The next step was to create little sentiments for my cards. I used Merry Cactus greeting from the same stamp set and heat embossed it in platinum embossing powder, the same kind of embossing powder that I used for my background, onto an 1.5-inch square piece of watercolor paper. I could have used plain white cardstock here, but I wanted all of the pieces of these cards to look identical. I wanted them to have the same color and texture, so this is why I used the same watercolor paper for the sentiment that I used for my background. So I heat embossed my sentiments, and I also stamped and die cut a little Santa Claus hat to put on top of these sentiments just as a little something extra. Finally, I created two top folding card bases for my cards using Hero Arts layering paper. I really love this paper because it's white on the inside and has color on the outside. So you can have a colored card base and a nice white space on the inside of your card to write your message on. Now, whenever I use watercolor paper, I have trouble adhering it down. I'm not gonna lie here, I always have trouble with it. So today I decided I'm not only going to adhere it, but I'm also going to stitch it down onto my card base to make sure it stays there. I intentionally didn't trim the excess thread there as I wanted these cards to have that, messy and playful look. And I think that loose watercolor and that thread really added a lot to that messiness, to the messy look of these cards. So finally, I foam mounted a sentiment and added a little Santa hat on top, and that finished my cards. Merry Christmas, everybody, la 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 la. Okay, yeah, I know I'm not good at singing, but this is something I really wanted to do, so please don't unsubscribe. I promise not to sing anymore. If you're new to my channel and if you're new to my videos and you liked this video, please do subscribe and give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.